Player ratings then, Everton 1, Bournemouth 3 at Goodison Park. Everton ending the season dreadfully, really, absolutely shocking, wasn't it? I think most Blues, including myself now, are just happy to see the end of that season. It's been another pretty atrocious season, hasn't it, really? Okay, it's gotten better towards the end with Carlo Ancelotti coming in and taking over, but again, it's just been full of inconsistencies, full of dreadful performances and full of players that just simply aren't good enough to put on that blue shirt. But anyway, we'll get into it. Jordan Pickford have gone for a 4. Listen, some people might think I'm being harsh with this one because he did make a decent save in the first half, and up until the third goal and the mistake, he looked okay, to be honest, and he was probably on course for a 6 or a 7, but I just can't accept that goal only takes a mark or 2 down. It's absolutely atrocious. You cannot be letting those sort of shots in. You know, it's right at him and it goes under him, and I know that we've seen those mistakes from previous goalkeepers over the last couple of weeks. You know, David De Gea is making them all the time as well, but I'm not really harsh. You know, Jordan Pickford, again, he's not in a position to be making mistakes like that. Certainly after the Wolves game and the mistake he made in that game and the little smirk at the television cameras, it was atrocious. It was utterly atrocious, and he probably could have done better for the second goal if you're being harsh as well. But that third goal is utterly embarrassing. And for a goalkeeper who his performance today sums up his entire season. 1 minute he's making a world-class save, but the next minute that world-class save is just completely undone because he can see the goal because of his stupid mistake. So again, he can't be putting performances in, like, he can't be making mistakes like that, next season. He just can't. I think we seriously need to look at the goalkeeper position because, again, that was the first mistake I think he's made in a while where he's actually looked a little bit arsed when he's made it, and he's felt a little bit embarrassed, whereas all of the others, he seems to laugh it off and stand up and smile it up. But it doesn't matter what his reaction is, whether it's laughing, whether he's fuming at himself, he's making the mistakes, and it's just not good enough. So I've gone for a 4 with Jordan Pickford. The entire back line, I've gone for 5s, Dean, Keane, Branthwaite and Seamus. I thought they all struggled today, to be perfectly honest with you. Seamus Coleman got absolutely rinsed down that right hand side for a large part of the first half, and I think that was part and parcel of the reason why Carlo Ancelotti decided to put Jibril Sidibe in towards the back end of the game, because I just thought he was struggling massively to keep up with the pace of the game. Josh King was constantly down that side, and Bournemouth were playing exactly like we expected them to play, throwing balls into the box, purely playing to score goals. They weren't interested in the neat passing. They weren't interested in the possession play, and that showed by, with 10 minutes to go, Everton had something like 77% possession, but we were 3-1 down and the game was over, and that showed because of Bournemouth's tactic from the start was just to lump it forward and create opportunities, and Seamus really struggled down that right-hand side. Dean on the other side, again, some people might think it's harsh. He didn't have as bad of a day in terms of not being able to deal with what was coming his way, but again, he didn't do anything relatively going forward. He didn't impact the game, and defensively, he struggled at times in regards to both centre-halves. Then I thought this was the worst game that both have had over the last sort of couple of weeks or so. I think they would come under a lot of pressure, and at times I think they just struggled to deal with that. Branthwaite, there was a couple of situations where he gave away, a silly foul, or he lost his man a little bit. The goal as well, the header, he effectively, he's standing there and he allows 2 Bournemouth players to jump in front of him. And I'm not going to get on his back too much because he's still very, very young. He's still only played in 4 Premier League games, and this was only, I think, his second start in an Everton shirt in the Premier League. So I don't want to get on his back too much, but he did struggle today. He struggled against a physical side that were coming at us to win the game of football, and were coming at us constantly to pressure us and to score. And I think Michael Keane also struggled alongside them as well. Going into the midfield, Davis a 4. Again, I didn't think Tom Davis was that bad on the ball, to be perfectly honest with you. On the ball, there was a couple of situations where he was picking it up and he was using his feet nicely, and I could have probably given him a higher mark purely for that, but that isn't good enough for me. I don't want to watch a footballer and go, yeah, okay, every time I've watched you, you've done okay on the ball, but what have you created? Have you helped the defence out? Have you got around the pitch constantly? Have you thrown any tackles in? No. Every time you've got the ball, yeah, you haven't been that bad. His passing was poor again today at times, but how have you impacted the game? You haven't. Similar with Andre Gomez, I've gone for a 5. Again, pretty similar. On the ball, he's an okay footballer and he's a very tidy footballer on the ball, but he just doesn't impact games enough for me. Again, defensively, he doesn't cover as much as he should. He's not he wasn't quick enough. Neither centre midfielder or neither of the centre midfielders, including Gylfi Sigurdsson, were quick enough to keep up with the pace of the game today. Bournemouth were constantly at us. They were trying to break us down. They were trying to create. They were pressuring us, and none of the midfield were either fit enough or fast enough to keep up with the play, and that's why they massively struggled. And again, this game purely showed how important it is that we go into the summer transfer window and we look for at least 2 centre midfielders, because we cannot be going into next season with those as our centre midfielders. They're just not good enough. Sigurdsson, then I've gone for a 3. He's meant to be an attacking midfielder, and he doesn't impact games of football whatsoever. He just, again, far too many times I've seen the ball come to him and he just kills the momentum of the game off straight away, because by the time he's put his foot on the ball, he's turned, he's got the ball out of his feet, because he always ends up getting mangled in between his feet, and then he looks for a pass. The momentum is just completely dead, and the other team have got back and they're defended. So again, he's just not quick enough, he's just not good enough, he's just not creative enough, and he just doesn't do enough for me. So I've gone for a 3 for Gylfi Sigurdsson. Theo Walcott, I've gone for a 3 as well. Can't really remember Theo Walcott touching the ball that many times, to be perfectly honest with you, in the game. Yes, okay, he done okay and he done well for the goal. The ball was a good ball across the box for Moise Kean to get on the end of it, but other than that, again, there's just not enough output from him. There's just not enough creativity from him, and we can't be going into next season with wingers that pop up every now and then, but that's it. We need more consistency. Richie, a 5. Wasn't really in the game. Again, give away the penalty, of course. I probably should have given Richarlison a 4, to be perfectly honest with you. I'll give Richarlison a 4, change my mind. Give away the penalty, which was a stupid penalty to give away, leading with his elbow. Some people asked me on Twitter, did I think it was a penalty? I think you're absolutely stupid if you think in the Premier League in this day and age you can lean towards a ball like that, and then if it hits you, not have a penalty decision be given against you, especially with Chris Kavanagh refereeing the game. He is an utter bellend, and he wanted any opportunity to give a decision against Everton today, and Richarlison gave him a perfect opportunity. Having said that, I think it is a penalty. I'm just talking about other situations. But yeah, again, Richie, a 4. Wasn't in the game much going forward. He had a couple of chances where, again, the ball got caught up in his feet in the box that he could have probably done better with to get it out, but again, giving away that penalty, which ultimately put us behind and I think completely killed the game off for Everton. Moise Kean, I've gone for a 7. Thought he was man of the match for me to an extent. You'll hear why in a second. But again, the only Everton player really in that first half that looked like he wanted to create anything, looked like he wanted to get forward, looked like he wanted to really attack Bournemouth and get something out of it. Obviously he scored, which I'm made up for him as well. It was an easy goal to score, but I'm absolutely made up for him. But again, the only Everton player that was sort of taking players on, knocking the ball past players, trying to create, trying to get involved in the game. So I've given him a 7. Onto the substance of eBay 4. Did he do anything? Don't know. Dominic Calvert-Lewin 4. Again, I think he gave away a foul. Don't recall him touching the ball, other than that. Bernard 4. Very similar. Gordon 5. Thought he done marginally better. Thought he looked like he wanted to get the ball forward a little bit more. I thought he was running at players a little bit more. Won a couple of fouls as well. But ultimately there was no end product there, and there was nothing really to go off. So I've given him a 5. And Leighton Baines, I'm giving him a 10. I'm not even asked anymore. I know some people might say, oh, that makes a mockery of the player ratings because he didn't really do much or he made one good tackle. I don't care. Leighton Baines is getting a 10 today for the pure fact of the matter is that could be the last time he ever puts an Everton shirt on, and he come on and he still looked better than the entire defence and the entire midfield playing from left back. He put in a last ditch tackle that way. I think we've seen one decent tackle all game until that point, and that was Tom Davies. And again, that was the only decent tackle. Gylfi Sigurdsson didn't get his fucking socks dirty. Andre Gomez is scared of ruining his hair. Leighton Baines, come on, he made a fantastic tackle. He done okay to get forward, but he's getting a 10 purely because it could be the last time we see him in an Everton shirt, and the rest of them were absolutely fucking atrocious. Carlo Ancelotti 5. Listen, Carlo played the same formation that we played very, very well against Sheffield United a couple of days ago, and I think he was expecting a similar midfield performance from the lads because the midfield the other day against Sheffield United was decent. But again, those players have shown that even in a formation where they've played an awful lot of football in and where they should be most used to, even with Gylfi Sigurdsson in his preferred number 10, he's not good enough. Even with Andre Gomez in that midfield with 2 other players next to him, doesn't do enough. Same with Tom Davies. So giving him a 5 because, yeah, again, substitutions, made all the substitutions he needed, but we were atrocious today. Let me know your thoughts on the play ratings in the comment section down below. Finally, the season is over after something like 360 odd days since the first game of pre-season. We can finally say this season is done and dusted. Put it behind us. only talk about it tomorrow in the review, but then after that, never talk about it again, and look forward to the transfer window and hopefully Everton bringing in some names, because we desperately need to bring in some quality players. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Please leave a like if you've enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and yeah, fuck that season's over. See you soon.